Hello, and welcome to another episode of Lauda Out Loud. I am your host, Lauda la Artista, and I am here to provide just a little disclaimer. This is a heavy subject in the majority of our conversation that we are going to be having today. If you feel like you are not in the right headspace for this, because there is conversation of rape, there is conversation of domestic abuse, violence, we strongly advise for you to sit this particular episode out. There will be more to continue in the future for lighter conversation, but we want to make sure that your mental health is our priority first. So if you feel you are not in the headspace, please, we will not take any offense to it. Sit this one out. It's a very heavy subject, but if you feel like you are in the time of healing, please continue to watch because there is a lot of magic that happens on this show. So. Rosie. Should we talk about it? Let's talk. This is Rosie. Can I just give you a round of applause? Because I love you! And I'm so excited for this interview. I'm not even kidding. Like, it's so beautiful to be here. And I'm so happy to be in your presence. What's going on? What is shaking?
Oh my gosh. So many things. Life's good, Lauda.
Yeah.
Life is good. It's been a journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what we're here to talk about is...
your journey in life.
Yeah, the journey.
Yeah.
Right? And the magic. Do you believe in magic?
Actually, you know what? It's not necessarily magic, but I actually believe in like the earth working with you, which is the same thing. So technically, yes, I do. But what's your form of magic? What is it like part of your manifestation, or what do you think your magic is?
I think all of it. I do believe in the power of manifestation, or else I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
You know, we wouldn't be having this conversation if manifestation wasn't a real thing in the world.
So tell me, as far as like your manifestation for yourself, for your company that you have, this restaurant that you have, what is the one thing that you really wish to accomplish this year, and what you've been manifesting for a long time, and what you see is coming out to play? What is one thing that you want to talk about that you've been manifesting? It doesn't have to
It's
be
big.
One, but...
It's big, and I don't think it's my manifestation. I think I'm an ant. I'm a part of it. But then so are you, and so are all of you.
We're part of the colony.
You know, like, and I think it's ancestral.
Yeah,
like
absolutely
something that my ancestors have been manifesting, and then I'm part of it. That's all. And I'm excited to be a part of it and honored. And I don't know exactly what's going to go down, but
what do you think it is that we've all been manifesting that you feel in your heart that is actually coming into fruition?
That Dakota people are going to come home.
Yeah.
Because I'm Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And this is Minnesota Makoche. Like, we're all living on Dakota land. And I think everything in my life has led to this moment. And I don't know how it's going to go, but I can see the journey ahead, like bits and pieces, fragments of it. Like, I'm partnering right now with the St. Croix Valley watershed. The St. Croix, I live in Marina, St. Croix. I'm one of the owners of the Brookside Bar and Grill. We can get back to that story in just a moment.
Yes.
But because that's a whole other journey.
Mm-hmm.
But last year, well, I've been sober for a year and a half now, which is also very crucial to the.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I have, I worked in mental health for a while, and especially in a sober setting. And I have to say, that is the hardest journey, is sobriety. What was your poison?
Well,
not kind of trying to say that my shirt says poison on it, but literally, what was your poison?
Pinot Noir. I was really, and then Screwball whiskey. I like the Screwball whiskey, but none of it was ever good to me. And I think that it goes back to, again, the ancestors and spirit. And it got to the point, so I never was much of a drinker my whole entire adult life. I was raped, pretty violently raped when I was 17, right before I turned 18 years old that summer.
And it played a huge traumatic moment in your life?
Yeah, well, because I was drunk. I was drunk when that rape occurred, and I remember fighting back. I remember saying no. I remember being held down, being in a tent. I was in a tent at a country concert, and I remember everything about it. And I'm a strong woman, but I couldn't fight back. Because I didn't have control of my body, and because of the alcohol. And so instead, and this is wild work, right? Part of our society, the problem with our society is instead of blaming the boy,
they blame the woman.
Well, no. I never told anybody. I blamed the alcohol. I carried that shame. And so I didn't drink again until I was in my 30s, and then turned to alcohol as a crutch, as a coping mechanism. A negative coping mechanism to help me deal with the end of the 12-and-a-half-year relationship that I was in with the father of my 5 children, which I started drinking like right before I left him. And I've always been in the service industry, and so I've always worked around alcohol. I have a lot of addicts in my family. I'm native. That
seems to be the downfall of our people.
Yeah,
sure. It's like the cultural. It's the cultural setting. But it was how you communicate.
That, and I'm learning, with educating myself, and then specifically learning about our river valley, Wojikuwakpa-Kiana, which is the river where they plant, which is the St. Croix River Valley. Well, I'm doing this work for the Scandia Marine Heritage Alliance because they want to put in an indigenous wetland trail up the road in like 2027, 2028. Well, we got they got the funding. It's part of the barn restoration project, this big project up at the Gamble Garden Museum, and then that piece of land. Well, I am part of an indigenous partnership research team, but I call us Indian Goonies because we are being tasked with, and what a huge honor it is research. There's like 5 of us because there's not many. We've been exiled, and there's only 2 Dakotas. I mean, this is Dakota land. Like we've been exiled for a long time. There's not very many natives over here, along in this valley. And so there's like 5 of us, and but we're researching the indigenous history, Dakota and Anishinaabe mainly, but then, there's Ho-Chunk and Fox, because, everybody got pushed in. When the colonization was swarming the East Coast, then all the tribes were getting pushed inward. It's just a natural course of events. And then, so a lot of this was all part of Dakota Aboriginal territory. Well, this is Minnesota Makoche is kind of the heart, the center of Dakota homeland. But then these other tribes, they started coming in. And then when there's Aboriginal territory, you know, that's like this. And then, so Anishinaabe, their Aboriginal territory is this circle. And then there's overlap, right? And so the whole chunk, there's overlap. Like we've all, you know, you think about it when those first early colonizers started coming over here and exploring, like there were millions of people on Turtle Island that inhabited people were living in every inhabitable place on Turtle Island prior to the boats coming over. You know, all that illegal immigration, you know, early 1600s, you know,
before the current, what's happening currently. But, well, honestly, but I want to get back to this, but I want to actually pull you back just a little bit about your sobriety, because that's a really important thing, what you did for your ancestors too. Do you actually feel that the reason why you really manifested your sobriety is because you actually wanted to start seeing the clear picture to be able to manifest itself? Because I feel like when you're under the influence, you can't manifest. You can't do anything positive because you're still stuck in this funk. There's this saying that, you know, they say like alcohol is considered spirits, right? But it actually lowers your frequency to allow others negative spiritual frequencies to be able to inhabit your being.
Well, you know what I think? I have a theory about it, just based off of my own experience. I can't speak to anybody else's experience except for my own. So, okay. I start when I'm in my 30s, right? I'm drinking a little bit here and there, nothing major. Not until, you know, and then my little brother died of a accidental fentanyl overdose. That happened in 2017.
That was not even too long ago.
No, we just had the 8 years. I don't want to squirrel. We'll come back to that.
Okay.
We'll come back to Dean. He's
bookmark.
We'll bookmark Dean. I squirrel a lot.
That's okay. I'm ADD too. So it's okay. So, that's why I'm just pulling from different directions here. I'm like, content for days. Let's go.
Right?
Well, that's okay. We're okay. So anyway, about the spirit and the
spirit,
negative frequencies of alcohol.
So now my alcohol journey. So, you know, 18 to 31, nothing. And those were which is great. Those were the years I was having all my babies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was having all my babies at that time. And I was, you know, sober. I smoked cigarettes, which was terrible, but they don't have any long-term damage from that. But yeah, so life's stressful. You know, I experienced a lot of homelessness, all that.
Did you experience that while being pregnant?
Yeah.
Can we elaborate a little bit on that and talk about how it really is difficult being a mom? You want to provide the best for your kids. I'm a mom to be. And so you feel like you just, no matter what direction, you just try to pull whatever you can to be able to inhabit a healthy space and making the best of any situation. But how did you manage that? Because that's also part of manifestation.
Well, you know, I think it was a lot of hard work and not giving up. And, you know,
I bet you felt like doing that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I had 3 kids living in a tent while I was a manager at the Applebee's in Menominee, Wisconsin.
Wow. Okay.
I was managing. I was a front of the house manager for a major corporation, and I couldn't afford housing. And so I was living in a campground with 3 little kids while I saved up money.
Do you feel like that has some sort of like, do you feel like it's because of culturally who you are that they didn't properly give you enough funding? Because when you're managing a restaurant, you're the mother of the restaurant.
Yeah.
You make everything flow the way it needs to. Do you feel like it was bad? How did you explain? Do you feel like it's just bad business being in a situation where you should have been taken care of, but do you feel like if there was a little bit of racial issues when it came to having to feed your family, or do you feel like it's just because the area wasn't as wealthy? Do you feel like it's?
I think it's a combination of all those things.
Yeah?
I think it's an accumulation of all those things. Like you think about, being a woman in business, and I was freshly being promoted within. I had no idea about those contractual agreements or the way, I was young and I was naive, and when you're young and naive, you can be easily taken advantage of. And you see, like you get this offer, like you have these talents, right? You bring this thing to the table, and then somebody higher up sees it, and they bring you up, but only so far. They don't really want it's an exploitation. You know what I mean? They don't really care about you.
Yeah,
it's in a corporate setting.
If you're a number,
you're just a number that's higher up on the. You go, and I learned that by the way that they spoke about the server, the people that are down here operating, right? The people that are making things happen, the servers and the bartenders and the cooks and the dishwashers. Now in the corporate world, those are hourlies. Those are your staffers.
You were just the one who were at the top that threw it all on.
And then but I was there, and then they're like, oh well, you're shiny, let's bring you up, but not very much. And I ended up, it was when I became a manager, I was making less than when I was just bartending, and I think that's this industry. I think it's a norm, in a sad norm in this industry. So that you think about, that's an industry problem that I think we should address. And I think, because when I went back to serving, I left management. I was like, I'm not doing that anymore. It put me in the poorhouse. And so I would never manage for another, and I got offers,
I'm sure,
to manage restaurants, bars, this and that, because it's all I've ever done for 30 years. Is what I'm good at. And
how did you find the courage to actually be able to come back, but now not only manage, but to own your own location, to own your own place, have your own successes because you channeled that, you did that for yourself? How did you even find the courage to be able to do that?
Well, I never left.
Because I was going to say, I feel like with a situation like that, it would be very traumatizing because the system abuses their people.
Yeah.
So how were you able to get out of that mentally to be able to find the courage to own your own space?
I never left. I never left the industry. I never left. And actually I stayed with the company. I just was like, I'll take a demotion. You can demote me. In this industry, it's just like a title, right? Being a manager.
Right.
That's it's a title, and I didn't want the title anymore.
Right.
I wanted to go back to
being with the people, being energetic, being able to serve people because you feel like that's your best self,
and that's who I am. Yeah, I live a life of service. Right, Coopsum. I live a life of service. That's who. One of my defining characteristics is I serve. I'm a Virgo. I like taking care of people. I've always
she's triple Virgo though. Aren't you triple Virgo?
I am.
Yes. But
My kids say that's gross.
Well, why though? That just means you are so well rooted in who you are.
I love tending.
Mm-hmm. You're also a homemaker because you want people to feel at home. Considering, I'm sure, I'm just speculating because I also am the same way as a Cancerian. But I feel like when you are in the practice of serving, you are truly showing them your heart.
Yeah.
And showing them that love is with you. You are a safe space, a safe person. You truly need some sort of investment. You are that person to turn to. You are the mother of the ship. You are the mother of your restaurant.
I love it. I've always loved this work. It's super humbling. I mean, I'm getting older now. I just turned 47 this week. It's crazy.
Oh my God. Happy birthday, by the way.
I don't feel 47. I feel like I'm in the prime. Yeah. Like I'm in the best part of my life right now. I am starting to truly blossom. Mm-hmm. And it all goes hand in hand with spirit and sobriety. And I want to get back to the sobriety.
Yeah, because that's an important factor. So I was going to also ask, because of your sobriety and throughout those years, being the manager of an Applebee's restaurant, and you have your kids in that situation, how were you able to get yourself out of it and to be able to flourish to where you're at now? How are you able to even provide that shelter for your kids and helped maneuver through that negative space in your life to get to where you're at now? Because that's also manifestation. You manifested throughout the entirety of your life. Well, and that's why you're here today.
That is why. And I think it's because and there were times when it came really close to life beating me down. There's a lot of shit that happened.
That all in between.
That I could have easily gone down further into depression. Well, I suffer from PTSD and depression. And then you take homelessness and this and that. But it was always my kids striving for them to have a better life and more opportunities was really what drove me. Motherhood drove me to never giving up. And it was funny, not too long ago, somebody said, they had mentioned, you and your rose-colored glasses. And I'm like, I didn't understand what that meant. And I had to research what is rose-colored glasses. And I think they intended
You're looking through the eyes romantically, or what are you?
No. I think
I've never even heard the saying.
Well, me either. And so I had to Google it. I had to research it. And I think that it was meant by, when the person said it to me, I think it was intended to be like a dig at my personality. And because I'm very positive, I'm very happy. I have a lot to be happy for and grateful for. I walk through this world humble and grateful. My heart full of gratitude for this life, this journey, right? Even in the face of adversity, even when things didn't work out, or even when, and that is a choice that I make 100%. Every freaking day. When I get out of bed, I can either greet the day and be pessimistic, be woe is me, be like things aren't going my way, life sucks, I'm going to self-medicate.
Mentally blocking yourself from your success.
Yes.
For sure.
Or
there are people who are very much like that.
Or I can put on rose-colored glasses and I can see, look, and it's just looking at the world optimistically, but I think, it can be a toxic optimism, but I've never felt like I mean, I'm real. I know that there's areas of opportunity and there's challenges, but I
want to pause on that actually. Toxic positivity. Now, I relate with you a lot on your positive outlook on life, because it doesn't matter how shitty life can get. It doesn't matter. Ooh, child, you better get out of my face. Oh my God. It doesn't matter what life throws at you. You are still grateful to remain grounded.
Yeah.
You're grateful for the experience because it makes you a better person. And you're also grateful because you're alive to not only experience it, but you're alive to be able to just feel. Because so many people don't even get the opportunity to wake up in the morning.
That's right.
So many people don't even get the opportunity to have a clear consciousness to be able to move forward. That is why it is such a blessing in disguise to have personalities like ours, where we give that positive outlook on life no matter how shitty the situation is. But the reason why I wanted to pause on the toxic positivity is it because you feel, or this person feels, whatever they're projecting onto you in that point, their own insecurities because they cannot look at life the way you do?
Yeah, I think so. And I think I actually
Just
have
saying.
thought about it. And I think, and I don't really, in all honesty, I'm too busy
to care.
To care about other people's, I don't want to say that I don't care about their feelings, because I do.
No.
And
but you
genuinely
can't take on other people's insecurities because that's their own battle.
Yeah, but I don't have time for you to project your crap onto me. And if you are feeling like the sky is falling, I am so sorry. That bums me out for you. My sky is not falling. There's rainbows, man, and yeah, there's clouds. There might be a storm or two, but the sun is shining. The sun's always going to shine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You know, this kind of reminds me of this phrase that I just recently heard. My partner, Jim, we watched this movie called The Equalizer, and it stars Denzel Washington. Anyway, that's besides the point. But he had this phrase in this movie, and he said, "You cannot pray for rain without getting muddy." There's something in that where you can't like pray for the rain, but without getting dirty. You know, without putting your feet in the mud. Yeah. You have to be able to maneuver through the nasty to be able to appreciate the blessings in it.
Absolutely. And I think that gives us
thanks, Jim,
a stronger grounding and makes us better humans. Yeah. If we don't ever go through shit, then I don't know. I don't wish that, bad things happen to anybody, but I do feel like experiencing, that's the whole point of our lives, this part of our life, or this part of the journey, because we're just spiritual beings having a human experience. Yeah. Right?
And we all agreed to it before we came down here. Yeah. We all agreed to it. Every single thing that happened to us in this lifetime, we agreed to that. And we said, sure, let's just go for it. We will be triumphant. Maybe at some points, yes. Maybe at some points, no. But we will still walk with pride, and we won't have our tail between our legs. We're going to keep walking. We're going to keep going.
No, that's what you do. You keep going. When I was homeless, I wasn't homeless. I was just camping. It's all about how you look at things. It's perspective. I was working 2 jobs. I was living when we first got back to Tennessee, the kid's dad. I was with him, and I spent a lot of my adult life on the streets. And, there's a part of me, Lauda, that really misses the freedom of it. Of, when I was young, everything that I owned, everything I cared about fit in the duffel bag of my car. and I could go wherever I wanted, when I wanted. And then
you weren't tied anywhere.
No, and the reason that I love this industry so much is because it's such a human industry, a human forward-facing hand, body industry. You need, in order for people to be served food, and everybody's got to eat. Everywhere you go in this world, you're going to find a restaurant and a server. There's going to be somebody that takes your order. You know what I mean? And somebody that cooks it. So that is one of the things that I love about this work. You know,
it takes the village to feed the people, to love the people, to raise the people.
Wherever I went, I could always walk through the door and get a job. You know, because I'm really good at this. This is something that I'm really good at, is taking care of people, tending people, but and their needs. But yeah, so I would go. I just had that freedom, you know, and for 4 years of our relationship, the first 4 years that I was with the kid's dad, we traveled the United States, and we were in a tent in the car, and it was hard. You know, you getting stranded. The car broke down out in West Texas, in Odessa.
Hot.
And it was really hot, and we were stranded out there. My oldest daughter was conceived in a tent in the backyard of a prostitute's house. You know, it was, and she had babysit my ex when he was little, and but that was before life had got to her. You know, that was before she had turned to prostitution and drug addiction. She was addicted to crack. And so that's one of the reasons, too, why it was better to stay outside in a tent. Like, we just needed a home base so I could work and then get money. I've always turned to work. I'm going to work and get myself out of this situation. You know what I mean? But there's that part of work. And then there's the faith, you know. When we were stranded out in the desert in New Mexico, that was the first time I encountered a medicine man, and he had come to me. I was sitting there. Rob had gone to work day labor and pick peppers, and I was sitting near the river. It was the Rio Grande. But down there where I was, the Rio Grande wasn't very grand. It was just this, you know, you could wade across it. It was murky and muddy. And Rob, before he left, he told me not to go in that water. But then I sat there, and he told me not to talk to any strangers, you know. And I'm sitting in the car. And I was probably 19 years old. And I watched, and it was in a park, and these kids came, and the parents, and they were, you know, native kids, that you know, cultural native, probably some Navajo, and then Spanish speaking. I don't even know the tribes down in that area, but I watched them. They weren't afraid of the water, you know? And then this old man comes, and I see him pull in, I see him walk towards me. And I start to roll up the window, you know, because Rob had told me not to talk to any strangers, right, when he left. And he knocked on the window, and I rolled it down. And he said, well, I asked him if he needed help because, you know, he's an old man. And he said, no, I'm here to help you. I'm supposed to find you. I knew you'd be here. And he wanted me to come with him but I told him I couldn't, not until, and I told him to come back when Rob was back from picking peppers.
Mm-hmm.
And so when he got back, I told him that this old man wanted to help us and that we had to go with him. And so I talked Rob into it, and then the old man comes back and leads us out into the desert to this little adobe, a little shack out in the desert that he lived in. And he was a medicine man. And he waited until Rob was outside. And that man told me my future. And I thought he was just a crazy old man. And he gifted me the feather of a red-tailed hawk.
Mm-hmm.
It was he gifted me this red-tailed hawk feather. And he told me to always follow the hawk and that the hawk would lead me home.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now that's me, 18, 19 years old. And then he cooked us a meal.
What did he cook you?
There were beans and there were rice.
Did he give you Christmas salsa where it's the mixture of red and green?
I don't remember.
It has to be, because like in New Mexico, that's such a thing. Where they
I was
offer
so
you,
young.
do you want red salsa, green salsa, or Christmas? That's what they always say. It's a crazy thing. But the reason why I ask is because food is which brings you back to serving in a sense.
Yeah.
But food is such a grounding, healing conversation piece, because your taste helps to recognize in that moment, like where you were at, helps to give you a sense of like a pinpoint, I should say, in stating, hey, this is where we were at. This is what we ate. I remember this texture. I remember this feeling because of this meal that he made us. And that's what made that connection flourish. Yeah. Even if it was just the one and only time you've ever seen him.
That was the one and only time. And you know what? He told me when Rob had gone outside to smoke or whatever, he told me that Tennessee wasn't my home. Because at the time I thought, I'm just going back to Tennessee. And that's where I wanted to go. That was what I thought was home.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, Tennessee's not your home. And he goes, it'll be a long time before you go home. And he said, I know that you love him, but he's not the one for you. He's just right now. And you'll see that someday too. And I thought.
And you were 19 years old when this happened.
Yeah. And he had come to me. And he told me that, and he gifted me the hawk feather. And I feel so sad that throughout the course of my life and being on the streets, I didn't lose the hawk feather, but I did, because it was in a storage unit, and I ended up losing the storage unit, and that's where the hawk feather was. I thought I was keeping it safe.
Do you think it wasn't that do you feel like this hawk feather was given to you as a moment, like I said, of placement, like a pinpoint?
Yep.
It's a texture, it's a feeling that you can remember. It's just something that you use your senses with. So that way, when you come across it again, but it's meant to actually be,
it's bigger.
Bigger.
It's bigger. I know that.
You know
now.
what I'm talking about?
Oh, I know it now.
I couldn't put it in words, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I do know that now.
Yeah.
Exactly, because of what he said. Follow the red-tailed hawk. Mm-hmm. Because now, throughout my life, the red-tailed hawk has shown up at very crucial
times, yeah,
that were of major significance. And you think about that, like and that was just at one time, and he told me, and I hadn't he gave us like $250, I think, $200 to $250 gas money to get us home.
Mm-hmm.
That's so, and that was in New Mexico. As far as we made it was Odessa, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
and the car broke down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we got stuck in Odessa. And then my oldest daughter was conceived. And
Mm-hmm.
then it wasn't until, and then, so we're staying in that tent and things are getting really bad. And
When you say really bad, you mean with him?
no.
Or just in life in general?
Life in general, things were
just spiraling out of control.
Because of the what was happening around us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I wanted to get us out, and I was laying in that tent, and the hawk came, circled. I had the top off.
Was this
circled.
after you lost the storage unit?
No, this is before. I still had the feather then.
Okay.
Because this was right after,
Like
probably a
weeks.
year,
Okay.
months later.
Okay.
And I see the hawk
Mm-hmm.
circle above, and then it leaves, and then I walk in the direction that the hawk walked,
Mm-hmm.
or flew,
Mm-hmm.
and then I came to this church, and so I walked into this church, and I asked the pastor to help get me home. I'm still trying to get back to Tennessee at that time,
Mm-hmm.
because I think Tennessee is home.
Mm-hmm.
And because I don't know any better. And then they helped. They helped with the car repairs
Mm-hmm.
and getting us back on the road. No, not car repairs, bus ticket.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was. They bought us a Greyhound bus ticket and got us back to Tennessee. That's all I wanted.
So you had to leave the car life behind to be able to move forward.
Yeah.
Do you feel like that was a blessing in disguise?
Oh,
in a
it was
sense?
massive.
Yeah.
So then we get on that Greyhound bus and the church bought the tickets because the hawk led me to the church.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're coming into Tennessee. We're going to Knoxville. But then in Memphis is when I seen green grass again. I'd been in the desert too long. The desert is good medicine, but you think I'm Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
I need green and I need grass.
You need nature.
I need nature.
Yeah.
The desert. I like going to the desert.
Mm-hmm.
That's a whole other medicine.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, so I get to Memphis, Tennessee, and I'm pregnant with my oldest daughter, but I don't really know it yet. And I roll around. We get off that bus, and I just roll around on the grass.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob's like, "Get up!
You're grounding yourself.
You're embarrassing me." And I'm like, "I don't really give a shit."
Yeah, because you're grounding yourself
on this
earth. You're replanting yourself. Yeah,
I'm back
you were.
To grass and green things and
Mm-hmm.
soil. I need that in my life.
Yeah.
So then we get to Knoxville, and we're living homeless in this tent in between, like right in a Merchant's Drive, like a very busy part of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this little thicket of woods. And so that's where we put our tent. And I get a job at Waffle House, and then I get a job at Shoney's, and then
Shoney's was the place.
Yeah,
my grandpa used to take me to Shoney's in Hudson, Wisconsin, when I was younger. What a wild time!
Shoney's.
Yeah.
So I was working at Waffle House, working at Shoney's, and Rob he had a temper. He could never work long. He'd get jobs, and then things. It was always
he'd get terminated. Like
it was always an excuse. Yeah. He would get. Yeah.
Do you think it's because he lacked motivation in that area?
I think it was because he had undiagnosed mental illnesses, and that bad things happened to him. We trauma bonded. That's, I think, why we stayed together so long.
Well, being at such a young age too, when this all happened, it's hard not to, because you were taught better in that sense, because you didn't grow. You were growing in that sense. But when you meet somebody who is in the same traumatic mental state, you stop growing mentally. And then you just kind of coast. And then it could bring you down, up, down, up.
Our traumas matched one another.
Yeah.
And I thought that I could save him. I thought that I could love enough that I could fix him, I could help him, I could reach him. And that was never my job. You know?
No, because your job was to save yourself.
Exactly. And then,
which is why I think that was why the hawk came in, because he was trying to show you your direction. If it was for the both of you, he would have been present in front of both of you.
Yep.
But it was just for you, because it's your journey.
It's my journey.
Yeah.
And my journey, and my kids, the humans that my body created. You know, one of the best things that I ever did was not marry that man. But I could, you know, I'm so grateful for that, because when it came time to leaving, I just took my babies and I left, because they're the only things that matter. I left everything else. When I came here, because then he was abusive. He was an abusive alcoholic, and he almost killed me.
So he was mentally, physically, emotionally, all of the negative things that come along with it. That's the abuse that you endured in that relationship.
Yeah, for 12 and a half years. And my youngest daughter, she's 17 now. Mm-hmm. But he tried to stomp her out of my body. I was 8.5 months pregnant. Now you know.
That's where I'm at right now. Oh my God.
And so I was 8.5 months pregnant on my, face down. And he was stomping. My back is still messed up. Like, I have something wrong with my back. Has always been since this day. Mm-hmm. But he had me, and he was pounding by the back. He had my hair in my head, pounding my face into the carpet. Blood, just blood everywhere. I could taste it. My whole mouth was full of it, like wheat pennies, Yeah. And just pounding me. He was rage, blackout, drunk, and he was stomping my back, my belly. Like, I was 8.5. He was trying to stomp her out. He tried to take a coat hanger and tear her from my body. And I held her in, Lauda. Like, everything in me held her in. And I didn't go flat when every ounce of strength that I had kept her in my body. And my oldest daughter was in the corner screaming and crying, like, don't kill my mom. And God, I prayed, and I started spotting blood, and I prayed and prayed. And I was in the bathtub. He had passed out. God, I prayed for that man to die. And God doesn't work that way. Wakandaka doesn't work that way. We have to... we got to save ourselves. I'm just going to say that, you got to be brave. You got to walk away from the stuff that's not working, that isn't good for us. And so, but I didn't walk away even after that. It was 1.5 years later, but that was getting towards the end. And, I didn't lose her, and my oldest, I was in the bathtub. I couldn't work. He beat me so bad. I was covered in bruises. I had, there were everywhere was bruised. I could barely walk. And my daughter, my oldest, she's trying to scrub the bruises off my body. That was a wake up. But it was very eye-opening. And I hated him. I hated him. But I didn't know what to do. I felt stuck because I had 5 kids. And what am I going to do as a single mother with 5 kids? And so a year and a half later was the F5 tornado in Joplin, Missouri. We were in Joplin, Missouri at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I never witnessed devastation at that magnitude, what a storm could do, what nature could do, how insignificant we are, and how nature is the great equalizer.
How we're just little ants.
We're all ants. And to the power and the will of Mother Nature. Like, it didn't matter if you lived on the good side of town or if you lived.
It did not discriminate.
It did not,
discriminate. Yeah.
It wiped out. That tornado is the most expensive tornado in United States history because it wiped, to this day. There's a brand new on Netflix. It came out earlier this year.
There's a documentary about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were in that, me and my kids.
That was y'all's tornado?
That was our tornado.
Wow.
And so
can you imagine being in that? Well, obviously I can't because you lived it.
Yeah.
But do you feel that tornado saved your life?
I do. Actually, I'm so grateful because I'm a stubborn woman, and I think about
you're triple virgo, for God's sake. Shit! Holy God!
I think about how stubborn I am and how it takes these big
life catastrophic like
things for me to be like, oh, this doesn't work.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I should try a different way. And it took that. I have that effect on people. I'm not kidding.
No, it's because it's just also I'm a Cancer, so like me.
And you're pregnant.
Yeah, like fuck. You were 8.5 months pregnant, and that's where I'm at right now. And I'm so fucking sorry that I'm saying you might have to take a break. No, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. And I can't even imagine going through the trauma that you did, and you fucking survived it. You survived that shit, and it made you into the woman that you are. And you're so fucking strong for that because so many would have just let themselves die.
I know.
And you had 4 babies before that that would have just been left there and you would have just given up. But God wouldn't let you do that.
No.
Yahweh wouldn't let you do that. You kept fucking going. You know why? Because your mission was to save them and yourself.
And more.
The women who are going to be watching this, I hope you take notes. I hope you mentally find healing through this and encourage yourself to get help, to not stay stuck, because she had to do it the hard way. You don't have to do it the hard way. Get the help when you need the help. You need to understand how valuable your life is. Her, me, you, your mom, your sister, your aunt, your best friend, whoever. You guys need to value yourselves more. If you feel you're in danger, call someone. I can't stress that enough. Call for help. It is so important because your life is important, because your child is important. Your mental safety, how you endure life, just because it served you that way doesn't mean that's how you deserved it to be served. Do you understand? Get help. Ask. Call. There's always someone who is willing to help. So that's what I wanted to lay across here. just to get back to the story, but I just want to let everyone know you don't have to endure that kind of pain. It's not safe.
No,
it's not.
It's not. And I still hurt. Like
and if you're still recovering from that, it's because your body still has yet to release the trauma.
You know, there's a lot. There's a lot there. I know it. It's like a forever pinched nerve or something damaged there.
And I think this is where, in our personalities, where we should look at it as a blessing, as at least you're still feeling. At least it's a remembrance of knowing how far you fucking came in your life to where you're flourishing, into your artwork that you're able to produce, your poetry, your slam dunks. Girl, you are literally, you may not have all the financial success in the world, but you are so rich with love.
Oh,
you are so rich and spiritual. You're just spiritually abundant.
And money, that's where I'm rich, and that's what matters to me.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's a poet because for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We're not
Nobody
poets
does it for the money.
It's
because you have something to say.
Yeah, you don't own a restaurant for money either.
No.
Because this
you lose it.
It's a labor of love. It's
right.
a labor of love.
It's another child, you know?
But yeah, it was always for my kids. And then that's why when I came here, when I left him, it was right after that tornado. It was not long. It was like, so the tornado was May 22nd. It was the 4th of July of 2011 was when I left. I loaded up all 5 kids and I left. And
you left on Independence Day.
I did. And you think about it.
How poetic is that?
It doesn't get much poetic. I didn't plan it that way. It's just, he had hit me. He had punched me in the face on July 3rd. And I'd already told him. I told him after the tornado, I said, if you ever hit me again, I'm going to leave you. And he didn't believe me. And why should he? Because he had been doing it for 12 and a half years. So there was no reason for him to believe me.
To take you seriously.
And so, and I don't know if I actually all the way believed me either, to be honest. I don't, at the time.
Spirit held you accountable.
Exactly.
And made you answer to yourself.
And so what had happened is July 3rd.
Yeah.
He had punched me. And we were at his brother's house, his older brother. And there was a big family gathering. All my nieces and nephews, all my kids' cousins were there. Everybody was there. And he did it. He nailed me right in the jaw. And
in front of people?
In front of everyone.
Oh
so his older 2 brothers made his younger 2 brothers get him away, take him away. Even though it was all the brothers were similar in a lot of ways, but the problem was not out loud. You don't do that at a family. What happens in the privacy of your own home, we will turn our heads. But if
it's done in front of everybody, now we have to do something. Well, because everybody's holding each other accountable in that sense too. Did you just see that? Did you just see that? Now we have to do something about it.
Now
because it's not a secret anymore.
We can't pretend that we didn't know. You know what I mean? Because now it's obvious what's happening here. And so it forced them, the older brothers, to step in. They made the younger brothers take Rob away. And so once the kids were all asleep,
You said this is it?
what I had done, I took a bottle of Bacardi and a 2-liter of Dr. Pepper. And I went and I sat by a hay bale there was a little pond behind Gary's house. And I prayed. I think I got hammered and prayed.
To get you out.
For the guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next morning, luckily I was a lightweight then, so it was over quick. It was it was quick. And then I got up the next morning, and I think I had probably texted my dad, and I hadn't seen or spoken to my dad in like 5 years until this moment. But I asked my dad to send me the gas money to leave, that I was leaving. And so I got up the next day. It was a Sunday. It was 4th of July. And I went to my work, and I called my boss, and I told him I was leaving and that I didn't know where I was going and that they needed to find coverage. And I begged for an emergency transfer. And I was like, I don't know where I'm going to go yet until I get there. I'll tell you when I get there. And my area director, Mark Hassenberg, he just sent me a happy birthday. I'll never forget that man. But because he said, no matter where you go, Rosie, you'll have a job. And that was really the only foresight. I had to have a job. I had to work, because that's what I do. That's what I fucking do, is work. And so I set up the transfer. My dad had wired me the gas money. And then I went back to Gary's where my kids were and told them all to get in the
car
truck. Yeah. And that we were going to Walmart. I lied to my kids. I lied straight to their faces. I was like, get in, guys. We're going to Walmart. And my little niece, Hope, she was between, there's my oldest, and then Michaela, and then Rebecca, and Nevaeh, Michael, and Zilja. And Hope was right between
that was my
Nevaeh.
grandma's name. I just got chills. Sorry. That's wild.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
She was right between Nevaeh or Rebecca and Nevaeh, and I had Hope a lot because Aaron was a single dad. And so
y'all helped each other out.
Yeah, so I had Hope often. She was with us a lot. And she asked me, she said, can I go with you, Aunt Rosie? And I said, no, baby, we'll be right back. And I haven't seen her since. I haven't, and that was really hard, because
you helped raise her.
And I knew her situation wasn't the greatest either. Aaron, he was an addict. He was struggling with addiction, and he was an alcoholic. Like I said, there's some family things. There's traumas and unhealed trauma. That's the problem. It isn't like Aaron's a great guy, but he had so much unhealed trauma. And same with Rob, and it's like the family. I'm not making excuses for them or their abusive nature or any of that or anybody that's like that, but I pray for them now. Now I'm in ceremony. I'm on the red road. I have a medicine family. I'm in a Sundance next year, which we'll get into that later. But and I'm a pipe carrier now. I pray. I just pray so hard for all the unhealed people in the world,
Mhm.
that they find that peace within themselves, and they find their ceremonies, and they find their God, or their higher power. I don't, for Dakota, it's Wakantanka, God, Yahweh,
Mhm.
Allah, Buddha,
It's all one and the
whoever.
same.
It's all the same. There's
Mhm.
different names, different languages, different names, but it's
Yeah.
all the same.
Same frequency. Yeah.
Exactly, and so that's what I pray for everyone, is to find that their spirits come back to them. Now, going back to alcohol, because we squirreled a lot.
Well, not only alcohol, but I wanted to also touch on. You just said you were a pipe carrier. What does that mean? Can you give a little bit of insight to that? Elaborate a little bit on that.
Well, I'm still learning. I'm just a baby.
Does it have anything to do with like your art form of poetry? Is that like part of like? Is that part of that journey? Do they collaborate in a weird way? Yeah.
I think they're connected, and I just didn't know.
Or collide, I should say.
Yeah, they're definitely, there's definitely a connection there, and I'm still learning. I'm still figuring it out.
Mhm.
I'm a baby. I'm just, my first Chanupa, my woman's pipe, was gifted to me right here in this other room.
Mhm.
Came right here. Well, a friend who's like a brother to me, he gave it to me a couple days before Christmas
Mhm.
last year, and so I haven't even been a pipe carrier for a year.
But do you feel like it's this new sense of spiritual responsibility? Like,
Absolutely.
Do you feel like, what is it, as far as your understanding as of right now, what does it mean to you to be a pipe carrier?
It means to be a good relative, and to carry a pipe is a huge spiritual responsibility, a responsibility for the people. And I think I'm just beginning to understand. The best way for me to relate it is like I'm in the beginning of seminary. I don't like, adding that connotation to it, but that's just the easiest way, the metaphor or analogy that I could come up with is that, and now the Sundance journey is directly related to the pipe journey.
Mhm.
And it's like, you're living a good way, and not, it's not like you go to church on Sunday and then you wash yourself of your sins, and then you immediately walk out the door, and then you can be a shitty person, and then,
which happens a lot, though.
And then you go back to church next week,
Mhm.
and
it's
you
the same cycle all
and you
over
can
again.
just start over, be like, well, I went to church, I gave money to the church, but then you walk out the door and you can just not be a good human.
Mhm.
So the way of the pipe is so much, it's different. So you're in ceremony every day. You are living and walking in ceremony
and breathing it,
and
every
you
day.
have to be a good, not have to be, it's just you want to be. It's the way that you live. But then we're also human.
Mhm.
You have to give yourself grace every day for being human. I will give you a prime example. Recently, so and this goes back to this research that I'm doing, the partnership for the Scandia Marine Heritage Alliance, researching indigenous history in this valley right here. So I learned just a couple weeks ago that up the road, where the Snake, the St. Croix, the confluence between the Snake and the St. Croix is, right? There was a fur trade post there. You know, the early trappers. Well, okay, now we all know it's common knowledge that the early colonizers used alcohol as a tool of colonization in order to steal all the land from indigenous people. That is common knowledge. Alcohol.
Yeah, they divided and conquered that way. It was a weapon. Method. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Because now, I really want to go back to that theory, but I don't want to squirrel. So that part I knew. I already knew that. But I did not know. What I did not know was the extent of the pervasiveness to which that alcohol was utilized. So I read where one fur trapper got another fur trapper fired from leading the post because he liked to indulge in the drink. You know, he was drinking really heavy, and he would stash he would stash booze all around the post because he was constantly getting drunk. Well, what drew a line for this other guy was the fact that Sawyer, he liked to indulge in the rum that was for the savages. And when I read that, the high wine. So
he was stealing the weapons and utilizing it.
It wasn't normal drink. So they had this high potent booze that was specifically for the Indians. It was the Indian rum, the savage rum. That was this high potent shit and then so this white dude, this Frenchman, he was dipping in to the savage rum, and that was what got him fired from his post.
It showed through him the weakness that it also showed that not only can it hurt the native people, it hurt their own. But they didn't want to show that, which is why they terminated him.
Yeah, they terminated him.
Because they were like, you can't indulge in this. It has nothing. It's not for you.
It's not for you.
And
it's
now
for them.
You're showing our true. He revealed their secrets as to what their intentions of killing off the tribe.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing.
So when that dude got terminated, it's because he revealed too much of the secret of what was really the truest intention. What was the true intention of the alcohol? It was to literally divide and conquer.
Yep. To steal the land.
Get
them drunk.
Yep.
Put your mark here. I know you don't understand me. You don't read this. You don't know this language. We don't speak the same language. You don't understand this legal document that I'm putting in front of you. You can't read or write. This translator, we've already got him barrels and barrels of rum, so he's going to tell you whatever makes it okay to get you to put your mark here, just your mark, whatever that is, and then we're going to take 150 million acres. Like, that's what they did. And so that was so shocking to me, and so it was a Monday when I came to that, and that's, like I said, I'm only
a year into you being a pipe carrier.
Well, I'm only researching the indigenous history, the Dakota, because I'm Dakota.
Yeah.
I'm only researching. And then there's overlap because Dakota and Anishinaabe so closely connected along this border that of Wojukuwapakina, which is a cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
It's all cemetery, this land. Well, I just want to be clear. Like, I'm not researching all of Turtle Island. My research is Dakota right here, where I'm standing, where we're standing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's been the focus of my of my research. So I was shocked. I'm like, oh my goodness, this is. It made me really sad and angry. And so 3 days later, on Wednesday, I'm doing research. I'm back at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now here's where the pipe carrier stuff comes in. I'm back at work doing what I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's owning a bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm researching stuff for, we do cocktails of the month. It's like a sandbox. We not only do we do cocktails of the month, but we do burger of the month, pizza of the month.
Mm-hmm.
I run the bar, front of the house, and so my focus is on the cocktails, and I have a lot of fun in that area. Me and my whole team, we just have fun there. Well, I found myself. Now here's where the humanness comes in. I found myself researching. I wanted to make I was researching the highest potency of rye whiskeys. No, I was going
whiskeys. Okay.
I was going for rye whiskeys to make this cocktail that I wanted to make, and I wanted it to be extra strong. And then I'm sitting here for about an hour and a half, and I'm like, wait a minute. What are you doing? Why would you want to do that? No, Rosie. No, you don't want to hurt people.
Right.
You don't want to, just because that's what they did.
Doesn't mean you have to continue the behavior.
And that's not the way of, that's not being a good friend, being a good relative. Because Dakota literally translates as friend, ally. Like it literally. And so now, as a pipe carrier and a protector of the people and the earth and all of creation, I just want to be a good friend. And so I abandoned that search, and then I prayed about it, and I loaded my pipe, and I prayed at why would I do that? And I know why. It's because of that pain of history, right? The complicated history. But then I let that go, and then I chose instead to lead poetry walks and educate others. And then now, like that day, the very next day, I led these poetry walks, and then with love. And now up in Wild River State Park, and now Wild River State Park is going to start the process of changing the signage in the park to honor Dakota and Anishinaabe history here, and especially in the name of the river. You know what I mean? So you take that and just turn it into love. You just have to love through it, and it's really hard, and it takes work.
Do you think that's why you were bestowed the gift and the opportunity of becoming and manifesting in being a pipe carrier?
I have.
Because you have been through the journey of so much sorrow, so much trauma, and you still learn to love through all of the things that you've endured, through all the things you've encountered. Every type of evil that could have ever been present to you in your moments of need, you still shined through, and you are there to still pick up and help people pick up the pieces for themselves to realign people, and not only including yourself, but to help heal the world that you are surrounded with, that you're surrounded by, that you influence. The fact that life could not take you down, though it clawed at you. I feel like you being a pipe carrier was the gift, because it's not a reward. No. It's a gift.
It's a gift
that was given to you because of your struggles, because you still chose to rise above what was trying to take you down, what was trying to bring you down, and you wouldn't let it. Not without a fight, and you're a fighter by nature. As a triple Virgo, you's a natural fighter. You's a natural warrior. So, like, literally, the fact that life blessed you in these ways to receive your ultimate blessing of being a pipe carrier, to be able to love those who cannot love themselves. And you've seen that because you know it, because you've been there. That is the true gift that the higher spirit has given you, is you actually took the bull by the horns and you rode the shit out of that. And that's why you were gifted being the pipe carrier, the new generation, because you're creating the new wave for the new kids that are coming in. You are going to be teaching them about self-love, about art, about forgiveness. That is such a huge part in trauma.
Yeah, it's forgiveness.
But it's not to forgive others. It's to forgive yourself for not knowing how to act, how to respond, because we weren't given the proper tools. You and I both are of a native descent. You're Dakota. I'm Cherokee, but I'm also Mexicana. And we both culturally have endured so much trauma through the conquistadors, through, the I hate to make it sound racist, but it's like the Anglo, you know what I mean? Like, they came in, they completely wanted to wipe out everything because they wanted to start their world. So we have generational trauma that we still answer to this day. But that's why you were given that task of being a pipe carrier, because you're going to teach others how to love themselves, how to forgive themselves for not knowing better.
No, you don't.
That's power right there. That's very powerful stuff.
Yeah, the trauma. So you think about it, as indigenous people, and actually just people
in general, because also
people.
What you also see too is that, like, for instance, like in Mexico, we have this story about like the St. Patrick's Battalion, and how even the Irishmen were enslaved to kill Catholics. So Catholics were fighting Catholics. Yeah, and then they finally recognized that, hey, we all pray the same. Why are we killing each other in the name of our God that we cherish and that we love? And so they joined forces. We joined forces. And then we didn't win the war, but that we won many battles. Yeah. And I will say that even though we didn't win, like I said, didn't win the war, we won the battles, but we were all hung together. The men who fought side by side, the Mexicans and the Irishmen. So literally in every culture, there is trauma that everybody answers to.
Yeah. It's a trauma. There's historical, and then there's spiritual, and then we have generational, intergenerational, and then our own traumas, right? Like the tornado, or getting, and then the way. But then that we're carrying. There's a study that I learned about when I was in college. In my psychology classes, there's a study about the mice, the little white mice. They take these little white mice, or they did years ago, and they electrocute. They have cherry blossom tree branch in there with them, but they make it to where this cherry blossom would electrocute them if they grabbed at that. They went for the blossom. So the mice that were pregnant, right? those babies, when they were born, they put the cherry blossom in there, and the babies knew
Not
to touch it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now you think about that. So that's why a lot of indigenous people like me, I have shied away from organized religion, stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't
same.
really trust. I stay, you think about it, you're almost like a wild dog on the outskirts. I've always felt like a wild
what
dog.
it has done to people,
Yeah.
and how they kill each other in the name of God.
Well, and then, but I also, the flip side of that coin is, if trauma like that and fear can be handed down through blood and bone memory, so can love and everything beautiful and hope and dreams. And I know now that me being here
It's not just coincidence.
I am an answer to one of my ancestors' prayers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they loved me 150 years ago. They prayed for me to be here right now.
They manifested you.
They manifested me. You know? And that love is the red-tailed hawk. It's the pipe. It's the tree at Sundance. Speaking like religion and praying, we as indigenous people, native people, just celebrated our 47 year of religious freedom on Turtle Island.
And that's how old you are.
And that's how old I am. August 11th was the day that the American Indian Freedom of Religion Act passed in 1978. So until my uncle, I just met my uncle out in Crow Creek. He told me stories, like a majority of his life, he's had to do these ceremonies that I am so grateful. I thank God every day for that poetry, my art, brought me to the Lower Sioux Dakota community for the very first time, and I met my medicine family there. And then they have taken me in and been teaching me our cultural ways, because that was completely missing from my whole life, because I grew up very, very assimilated. And now I am doing the hard work of decolonizing my thought processes, my education, and my spirit, and then coming back, working my way back to the way of the land, and the way of the pipe, and then the way of God. They're all one and the same.
It's all the one and the same.
Nature, and this way of being a good relative. Being a good relative is being a good human. And as a species, globally, we are failing at being a good relative to the earth. And I see things more and more clearly with every day that passes. That I am sober and in ceremony, and sober ceremony spirit. They all go hand in hand. When I was drinking, the reason that I quit is because it disconnected me from my spirit.
Mm-hmm.
I could not feel me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I cut it out, and I couldn't hear the river. I couldn't hear the land and the water. And it was muddying that connection,
Mm-hmm.
And so I let that go, and now, I can hear. It's clear. The ancestors.
Do you feel like you needed that downtime to actually be able to appreciate those gifts that you were bestowed by the greatest spirit? You really needed that downtime to recognize that it is, in fact, such a powerful gesture and a powerful gift to be given that. You appreciate the responsibility that you were given to be able to hear, because not many people listen.
Yeah.
To be able to see, because not many people look. You were given all of these beautiful opportunities, and you flourished, and you got out, and you took care of yourself, and you healed yourself. And now you are able to use all 5 senses spiritually that brought you to where you're at today.
I'm still healing.
We're always going to be healing.
I just want to be clear. Like, that is a constant journey.
Mm-hmm.
That is, and that is healing is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
When we have a choice. With the circles, with the friends that you keep,
Mm-hmm.
The things, our words, our thoughts have power.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're going to sit and you're going to think bad and the sky is falling, well, the sky is going to fall, But if you think that the sun is going to shine, and that it's going to rain when it needs to rain, all those things will happen too. Because that's just power that we wield. It is, we all have it in us. And I didn't know it. I am learning, actively learning, and I'm sharing what I'm learning as I go. I'm fumbling, and it's okay, because I'm human, And so now I'm being a good steward. This place, the Brookside, it has been here long before me, and our ownership team. It'll be here long after us. We are the current stewards, and I know I can't speak for the rest, but I do so with love at my forefront. And I just want to, I do that with the poetry too. That's like leading ceremony. I realized that later, like the way that it's all connected is leading the poetry, teaching poetry workshops like I do, is, it's sacred work. And I didn't know that until poetry brought me to ceremony.
What's one major thing that you want your viewers to be able to take away from this entire interview?
I want you to love yourself and give yourself grace. And just know that we're all human. And that it's okay to feel. It's okay to cry. It's okay to be angry or frustrated or uncomfortable, because that's the only way that we're going to grow. And I just pray for an empathetic world. And just know that I see you, and I'm going to be praying for you, that you deserve and are worthy of all the good things here, you know?
I think this has been the most healing conversation that I've had in a very long time with someone. And I'm so appreciative that I get to sit in your presence and actually physically feel the beautiful energy that you have blessed us all with today. So thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for being brave in sharing your scariest moments in your life to your most triumphant. Because it shows that when you truly put the effort in healing, you will heal. It just takes time.
It takes time, work, choice,
and dedication. Because it's an everyday thing. It is not something that happens overnight. It is something that you work on daily.
I want to be healing for the rest of my life.
And that goes to show that it doesn't matter how old you are. You will forever be healing in all of your sorrows, because there will be times where they will come up and you have to learn how to sit with it. You have to sit with the ugly to appreciate the beauty afterwards. Because when you feel the release is when you can truly enjoy the release. And you can enjoy the aftermath of breathing again. So this is Lauda Out Loud. And this is Rosie. And I want you guys to go check out all her poetry. All her poetry slams. They're beautiful. Check out her also her works, not only in, you do what am I trying to say here? You do social working as far as like, like networking with people, like, and doing classes. You offer classes as far as just like, like studio time to be able to like help like people grow into their artwork of poetry and trying to help them, guide them. And can you elaborate just a little bit before we go?
Yes. Marine Mills Folk School, check out next spring, probably February. I'll be teaching another class next year. It's the
workshops.
Walking into the Woods poetry cohort. It's a 6-month cohort that I lead here in Marine on St. Croix. I also have various, if you check out my website, rosettapeters.com, I'll be teaching, I'm teaching at McAllister College, some poetry, and then Franconia next month in October. And November, I'll be teaching some workshops. In the winter months, I teach a little less because I'm writing. I'm actively
in your creative space.
Yep. I'm writing in the winter, but next spring, just look out and check out my website. I have some things coming up.
Beautiful. If you guys have any questions in regards to what you have seen today, please reach out. And remember, there's always someone there to listen. I'm Lauda Out Loud. Lauda la Artista. I hope you guys have a beautiful day. And remember, just take one step at a time.